We've just gone live. Khali, how's it going?
I am good. How are you?
Oh, very good. It's good to be back.
Yeah, you abandoned us for quite a while.
Oh, no, about 10 days, eh?
Felt like forever, but nonetheless, yes.
It was really cool, though.
How was it again, though?
When I got there, it's -2 degrees and it warmed up to 10. When it gets to 15 degrees, everyone is happy. Like, that's hot for them.
That is sad. That
is
unbelievably
and when
sad.
it drops to 20 degrees, yeah, people complain.
Okay, no. I refuse on levels. Hi, guys. Welcome, Khali, and now as you see we have Andrew, but unfortunately Daniel has now been the one to abandon us.
Yes, he's on leave. What's that about?
I have no idea, but he'll need to atone when he comes back.
Absolutely.
As to why he keep abandoning us. But you were in the UK
yes.
dealing with properties that
which is awesome. Residential properties, buy-to-let, HMOs, multi-let, buying, selling. There's always activity.
Yeah.
No load shedding, of course.
Must be nice.
But I'll be honest, I'd rather be here with load shedding and good weather and good people and stuff, which is awesome. Now, Khali, today we've got a very interesting subject, don't we, all around lending.
Absolutely. And we have an amazing speaker who is the Acting Chief Investment and Development Officer of the GPF. You're going to find out about him a little later, probably about 10 minutes from there. His name is Shiraaz Lorgat. But before we get to him and all the monies he can borrow us, don't you want to tell the lovely people about the events that we're having?
Oh, absolutely, I mean, it's quite a busy week, which is awesome. We've got tomorrow's Tuesday. We have an Absa Bank webinar that you're hosting with Zyda. Tell us about it.
The ladies are going to be hosting an amazing webinar, and it's for all first-time investors. So the question that we're posing is that as a first-time buyer, should your first property be your primary residence or an investment property? And I cannot wait for all the nuggets and all the information that Zyda is going to give us. So please, 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 you join us for that.
Absolutely. And then Wednesday, we've got Wednesday is something we've just put together about 20 minutes ago. There's a development opportunity just outside of Port Elizabeth called Crossways. And it's literally last minute. Jay Barkhazen's involved. And there's a time limit in terms of if you want to get involved and you want to do what's called the learn and earn, where it may be that you want to become a developer or you want to be part of the process, there's an opportunity. So Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we will be putting up the links and we will be posting the Zoom link for all of you. Anyone can attend. So this Wednesday at 1, and then Khali, Thursday night. Thursday night is a professional mastermind.
Absolutely, it's the professional mastermind, and those happen every month. So we're going to be discussing. It's kind of like group coaching.
Yeah, it's group coaching. A lot of accountability and goal setting. So if you're out there, you're a professional member. It might be that you're getting stuck, or that you're not making any progress. Once a month on a Thursday night at 6 p.m. we go live. Myself, the coaches, and we have different breakout rooms, which is nice.
Yes.
So all the beginners go together. It might be that you've got 2 or 3 properties. We put you together, and the advanced investors, so 5 or more, 10 or more, we'll put you into a specific breakout room. So it's super exciting. It's interactive. So quite a few webinars happening.
We have a lot of virtual events happening this week. However, to those who are joining this virtual event, please tell us where you're from. Just go into the chat box and just let us know. For the ongoing war between Cape Town and Johannesburg, will never die. But we want to know where you guys are from, and just let us know in the chat box. And we're going to be introducing you to our guests in a little while. Absolutely.
Let's see who's online with us. Let us know where you're from. Are you from Joburg, Durban, Cape Town? Have you ever heard of the GPF? Do you know what GPF does? Because we want to have a conversation around financing.
Yes.
Are you the ideal client for GPF? If you want to apply for financing, how does that look? So let us know. I'm getting Facebook up here on my phone. So please let us know. Okay.
Alrighty then.
Let's give them a few seconds. Make sure this is all good. Make sure this is all good. Okay, so in that comment box, we will be posting links as well, which is great. And then if you have any questions, please feel, now's the time when it comes to financing and GPF. Any questions around how to get involved, what type of properties do they fund? Now's the time to ask the questions.
Yes.
Cool. I can see quite a few people are joining us right now, which is great.
That's awesome.
And if you did miss the events, we will be covering the events a little bit later on as well. Let's just get this up, Khali.
Yes.
Okay, get this up. Now, Khali, can you do the honors and introduce Shiraaz for us from from GPF.
Absolutely. So this lovely gentleman has a lot of expertise. Hi, Shiraaz, how are you?
Good afternoon, Andrew and Khali. Good to be with you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us some time. So I do understand that you are the acting Chief Investment Officer at the GPF. You have been with them for over 15 years of investment, being an investment officer, and you have over 30 years of residential funding experience, from mortgage financing to micro lending and development financing. Also, you started with one of our partners, ABSA, but you also worked for Nurture. So you have an extensive experience when it comes to funding.
And it's also a giveaway for my age, unfortunately. Besides the white beard and the low hair.
Yeah, exactly.
So that CV is a dead giveaway for my age, I guess. Eh?
Absolutely. But no, Shiraaz, with like your ABSA Bank, your Standard Capitex, the high street banks, what makes GPF different? What does GPF actually do? And what areas are you covering at the moment?
Okay, thanks for the opportunity to present the Gauteng Partnership Fund. That's the GPF, the acronym. So what makes us different from your traditional banks is that if you look at a project, any project that the GPF funds, generally the equity and the GPF funding will not constitute a funding model. So we need senior funders to co-fund with the GPF in order to close the funding model. So the GPF is strategically placed as a mezzanine funder or a junior funder. And that is what makes us so unique in the country, not only in the province, but in the country. So the GPF was set up by the then Department of Housing, Human Settlements. We're an agency of the Department of Human Settlements. And unfortunately, we only operate currently in the Gauteng province. So if you looked at all other mezzanine funders, the interest rates that they charge are prime plus 5 and so on, with short terms loan repayments. The GPF was set up to be an enabler and level the playing fields. So the GPF, for instance, would price at prime minus, and we would look at loans between 15 and 20 years. So that is what makes us so unique in the lending environment, that generally we assist emerging entrepreneurs. With our weighted average cost of funding, we make projects more financially feasible. We also assist with cash flow because of the longer terms of our repayment loans. And obviously, that will assist cash flow. So in a sense, that is what makes GPF so unique. In terms of do I carry on, or you want to ask me?
Well, the follow-up question I was going to ask was pertaining to the technical terms. I don't think a lot of our viewers would understand what a mezzanine funder is, or like a junior funder. I do understand you as you unpack it, how you guys actually operate, but if you could go a little bit more in depth in terms of that'd be great.
Okay, so let's use a very practical example. You have a project of 10 million for example, and in terms of actually funding that particular project of 10 million, you would have different layers of funding. The first layer of funding would be equity, and that could be anything from 5 to 10 to 15%, depending on the financial feasibility of your project. But let's use an example of 10% equity. So in this 10 million rand example, the developer, the applicant, would have to show that they have R1 million to contribute towards this project. So that's the first layer of funding is equity. Then we have the junior, or we have the mezzanine layer of funding, and that's where the GPF operates in this space. In our mandate allows us to provide up to 30% on student accommodation and rental housing, and also up to 40% on what we call the EEPF. I'll be going into more detail in terms of the Entrepreneur Empowerment Fund, but let's just keep that in mind. So the next 3 million rand, that would come from the GPF. So 1 million plus 3 is 4 million. Remember, I said we still don't have a project because we need a senior funder then to come in with the 6 million rand to complete the funding model. What makes this so unique is that the GPF will then take a second ranking mortgage loan. The senior funder would then take a first ranking mortgage loan. By virtue of the numbers I've just given you, the senior funder has 100% cover against a 60% exposure. Can you see why we facilitate the funding between even the senior funder, and we also facilitate the funding between the applicant developer by virtue of our rates and our lower terms, and we can provide sort of feasibility, added feasibility to the project. I hope that in terms of the example that clarifies your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And just on the level, where do you start with investment? So we spoke about Gauteng being an area. Is there a minimum value? So if a SAPNA member brought a deal to you, does it matter if it's residential, commercial, industrial? Must it be a minimum of 50 million rand, or what does that look like?
Okay, so remember we only operate in the residential space. So your SAPN would come to the SAPN community could come to us and say, this is my project, please assist. So in terms of the student accommodation, we have a minimum of 50 beds. So we don't put a quantum to that. We're saying 50 beds would be the minimum we would look at in terms of student accommodation. Then in terms of the rental and the EEPF, we're talking about 15 units. So that would be, if you develop a unit at 300,000, 600,000, that would give you the quantum. But we're saying 15 units as a minimum, and student accommodation 50 beds. I do want to point out that we're currently busy launching a new program, which is called Kasi for Real, where we'll be doing township lending, and those will be much smaller numbers in terms of backyard rentals. So what I'm talking about now is specific to the student accommodation located close to the tertiary institutions, your normal rental program for well located based on demand, but the smaller unit, the smaller sums will be in township backyard rentals for our Kasi for Real.
That is actually quite interesting in terms of you guys branching out with Kasi for Real, or the you had mentioned earlier, I think entrepreneurial.
The EEPF, yeah.
Yes, the EEPF. Do you mind just kind of unpacking that one a little bit more so we see all the divisions?
Okay, so the Entrepreneur Empowerment Fund, EEPF, was specifically
that 5 times.
yeah, tongue twister. It was specifically designed to bring in emerging developers into the sector. So this program is exclusively for 100% BBBE HDI companies. So we're talking of shareholding here, 100% Black HDI BBBE shareholding. So what we envisage, or what we are achieving with this particular program, is that the GPF will provide assistance in terms of interest-free loans and also discounted term loans. So for an example, again, we would provide up to 2 million rand interest-free loan. It's only repayable in years 6 to 10. Again, this is to assist with the financial feasibility of the project. Then we would then provide our junior or mezzanine fund loan, and then we would price this at prime minus. I think we price this at JIBAR plus JIBAR plus 1%. I think JIBAR is now 7.5%, so we're looking at about 8.5%. But again, at the time of application, JIBAR could go up or down. So I'm just going to use it's JIBAR plus 1%, and then the maximum loan term would be 20 years. So this is it's for the first project that you undertake. We limit it to our maximum exposure of 10 million rand, which is the 40%. So it's the smaller projects where you're cutting your teeth, you're paying your school fees in terms of getting into the sector.
So that's interesting. With regards to the empowerment, entrepreneur empowerment fund, my question is, I do understand that you guys also have a very, very big investment in youth and women. So would this fall under that, or are they again different divisions for those categories?
No, we offer these programs in terms of the EEPF, rental housing, social housing. So the youth and women would just slot into those respective programs.
Okay.
And then tell us about the process, Shiraaz. Like, let's say there's a member and they bring your property as residential. There's 100 beds. Talk us through, how do you actually apply for funding? Does it take a long time? Is it a few weeks, a few months? Is there application form? How does that process look?
Okay, so immediately, let me just make it known to your members. We have an automated loan application system that can be accessed on our website. So from 1st of April, the GPF will not be accepting any, call it hand, stick applications that come via a memory stick or a hard copy being delivered to the GPF offices. The loan application system is functional. Your members can access our loan application system on the GPF website, and it will take them through in terms of the actual process. But to give you some indication of the process, the business, again, and remember, we junior and co-funders, so the business plan that you put together for the senior funder, that would suffice for the GPF. So we're not saying prepare a business plan that's different from the senior funder. And similarly, we would believe that the business plan that you prepare for the GPF would suffice for the senior funder as well. So the things that we're looking for right up front in terms of the business plan that you submit is who is the jockey in terms of who's making the application, what is the experience, where, and then secondly, the actual location of the project, where is it located, what is the zoning on the project, that kind of information in the business plan. The reason we ask for that information is if somebody applies for funding and the zoning on this particular project is Res 1, residential 1, for instance, and they want to do medium and high-rise density, we then can assist them and say, look, this is the process that you need to follow to get the property rezoned. Unfortunately, rezoning, we know, takes a little while. Therefore, come back to us when the property is rezoned, and that will then assist the applicant. So the business plan that we're looking for is who the jockey is, details about the project, then the forecast in terms of the financial feasibility of the project. What would also assist, if you have the information, is who is on, if it's a greenfields development, building a project from scratch, who's your professional team? Give us their CVs and what have you. And once that is all put together, you submit that to the GPF. We have what we call a desktop analysis. We will peruse the information quickly, do a few calculations on our feasibility model, and say, look, this works, this doesn't work. Sharpen your pencil in terms of the cost. Look at your rentals that you're going to charge. Are they market related? Look at your cost, and then once the desktop analysis is done, we then will do let's say in this example, the project is feasible. We would then do an expression of interest. An expression of interest is basically saying, look, we like what we see here. This is what we'd like to do for you in terms of that 10 million example. We would do 3 million rand for you. Here's our term sheet. It's a draft term sheet. have a look at it. If you're happy, sign it, send it back to us. Also, then bring us into contact with the senior funder, because we want to, right up front, we want to meet who the possible senior funder is, have discussions with them, so that our lending or our funding criteria sort of mirror each other. There's no sense we go through the whole process only to find whoever this lender is doesn't want to give the GPF a second mortgage bond, and then it falls flat. So we interact with the lender right up front, and then we sort out the securities and everything there else. So once the expression of interest is sent off to the clients, they sign it, they send it back to us. We would then appoint a due diligence. We would do a due diligence review on the entity. It's an independent due diligence, so it means we appoint a third party to undertake this for us, to the extent that even the information that you provide is provided by the developer. Once the due diligence is concluded, we then prepare a motivation. It goes through to our technical and credit committee, so that's an internal committee. It's discussed there. Any changes that needs to be made, we go back to the client, remodel, amend, resubmit, and then it goes to our executive committee, and from there it goes to the sub-board committee. Based on the value of the project, it can get final approval at the executive committee, and then finally if it's above their delegations of their mandate in terms of the amount, the quantum, then it goes to the subcommittee. This all, I know it sounds quite a bit, but we would like to do this within 2 to 3 months, if all the information is correctly provided.
Well, that does sound like a lot, but it's amazing because of the opportunities you are now helping facilitate. So we already have questions, and I urge all of our viewers to actually include the questions in the chat box. This one is from Andile, and he wants to know, hi, Andrew and Khali. My question for the GPF team is, GPF states that they provide 100% funding for the projects with a total loan exposure of 10 million or below. Should I identify an existing residential building in Yeoville, for example, selling at 4 million, would they fund these types of deals at 100% funding as they state? So they want to know, do you still become a mezzanine funder for anything that's lower than 10 million? Or if it's lower than 10 million, then you will be the chief funder and fund everything?
Thanks, Khali. Apologies, I didn't want to cloud the issues in terms of our role as a mezzanine funder, but Andile is correct. Any deal, and it could be any deal. So say, for instance, we in the same 10 million rand scenario, and I must ask you for apologies. The reason I used 10 million was just so the 10 and 30 was easier to calculate as opposed to some higher number, and I have to sit with my calculator here. But I mean, we've just approved a deal now where it was 17 million. And the client came to us and said, well, I have the equity of 7 or 8 million. Can you do the difference? And we said, not a problem. They will do the first mortgage bond. So anything up to 10 million rand. Yes, we could be the first mortgage bond, or we could be the only funder. But again, it would mean that the difference between the actual project cost and our funding would have to be equity. So there, in terms of the question, and I'm looking at the chat as well, the GPF's mandate is new stock. At all times, our mandate is new stock. So we don't refinance existing businesses. So it's whether that be a change of ownership, we would not do a refinance, because that does not constitute new stock in terms of our mandate. Our mandate is our mandate then is what you call greenfields from scratch. It would be taking a conversion office to residential. It would also then take uninhabitable buildings and making them habitable. So where a building has been hijacked, You come in, they've got rid of the guys. You come in and you then do all the necessary repairs, and that building then becomes habitable again. So that then would be part of our mandate. But in this case of the 4 million rand, if it's just merely a lick of paint that he's going to do and just refinance, then unfortunately the GPF will not do. But ordinarily, say this was where a significant refurbishment to be done, if it came to 4 million rand, we would ask him from anything from 5 to 10% of equity, and the difference we would then fund.
Okay, that's amazing, guys. So yes, I think the clarity in the fact that you do also have the space and capacity to be the chief funder. It doesn't mean you're always going to be bridging the gap is actually amazing. So guys, also please ask us all of your questions, because we have the GPF with us this afternoon, and they are talking all things funding. And I think that's one of the big things in property, and it's the reason why some people don't get into it, or it's the reason why people give up, is because of funding or lack thereof. So we're introducing you to individuals who will absolutely facilitate that journey, provided you have all of your documents and the deal makes sense. So please ask your questions in the chat box. We will be getting back to Shiraaz and the GPF team. However, Andrew, what are we doing this week?
So this week's actually full of webinars, eh?
Yeah, so it's just a webinar week.
So tomorrow at 1 o'clock, Khali is hosting an event with Zaida at Absa Bank. All around, if you are a first-time buyer, should the first purchase be an investment property, or should it be a residential home? That's what the conversation all about on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, that's the webinar we organized like 10 minutes ago, or 15 minutes, or half an hour ago, with Jay Barkhuizen regarding Crossways. A very interesting opportunity just outside of Port Elizabeth. And in fact, to ask Jade if we can jump on this call at the end of this call to give us a high-level view about this development opportunity taking place at Crossways. In my opinion, it's probably one of the most unique developments I've ever seen.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very, very interesting. So stick around to the end. And then Thursdays are professional members. So if you are a professional member, Thursday night is the mastermind. From 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, it's all on accountability. We put you in different breakout rooms, and the outcome and goal for the mastermind is how do we help you get to the next level? And then that's it just for the week, Khali?
That is it for the week. We're already getting questions again in the chat box. As I said, I absolutely urge you guys to please use this opportunity to ask all the questions you would like. We had discussed this actually in terms of the GPF being in Gauteng only, as it stands. So Gordon wants to know from Shiraaz if there are any institutions that are similar to the GPF across the country or in other provinces, like a young bridge, branch, something.
I wish you could say that they were. Unfortunately, we get the question often. To our knowledge, there aren't any institutions like the GPF in the rest of the country.
Mm-hmm. Well then, Gordon, I guess you have to move to Joburg.
Yeah.
The most beautiful city in the country, I always say, which is great.
Yes.
But I also know, Shiraaz, that I've been invited to your exclusive event on Wednesday morning from 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Can you tell us more about what will you be covering at that specific event?
Yeah, thank you. I was listening to you guys talk about all your upcoming events. We also have an upcoming event on Wednesday. As you say, it starts from 9 to 1. Basically, what the GPF is doing is this funding seminar is to highlight human settlement investment opportunities in Gauteng, and it's also to provide a platform for dialogue between the key role players in the sector. So what we want to do, the objectives of the seminar is to look at the GPF as a partner of choice for impact in investing. Create opportunities for collaboration and partnerships between funding institutions. So we're not only looking at developers, we're also going to have other funding institutions there. Open channels for property developers to access funding, and then create awareness of the sort of mandate and what the GPF does. And something that's also becoming sort of increasingly important is to identify the trends in ESG.
Alrighty then.
Sounds pretty cool.
That sounds really, really cool.
And I know we've invited up the likes of Leroy's, the Mark van Jaarsveld, some key SAPA members are joining myself. If you do want to come to the event, please email support@sfpropertynetwork.com or pop in the email address in there, or it's in there already over there. Support@sfpropertynetwork.com. If you do want to come, let us know. And if we feel you're a good fit for GPF, or if you do want to use GPF in the near future, just get in contact with us and we'll let you know. Yeah, so Khali, was there anything else from your side, and Shiraaz from your side? Anything that you want to leave our audience?
We covered everything from our side. If anybody has questions, please put them on now before we humbly say goodbye to Shiraaz. But Shiraaz, do you want to leave us with anything?
Yeah, just thanks for the opportunity. I mean, the GPF, we want to be an agile institution, so we would like your members to approach us, and we'd like to seek innovative funding solutions for their projects.
Fantastic. Sounds good, eh?
That it does. Sounds awesome.
Yeah. And Shiraaz, I'll see you on Wednesday, won't I?
You will.
Yeah, I'll be on Wednesday, and I'll bring a clan with me as well. Looking forward to it, but I think that's it, Khali.
That is it.
Shiraaz, thank you so much for your time. We really
thank you for
appreciate
having me. Thank you for having me.
100%. Thank you. Okay, we'll see you Wednesday. So there we go, Khali. That was Shiraaz from GPF.
Yes. That I had never heard of mezzanine financing, but GPF, if you have any developments, I love the fact that they're going into townships, because that's also like a prime place.
It's a big market.
That's a big market. And again, funding is usually the issue.
Yep.
So the fact that they're branching out even into locations is absolutely amazing. So should you want any assistance regarding them, like Andrew said, support@sfpropertynetwork.com.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I think let's now bring on Jade, eh?
Yes.
Jade, how's it?
Hi, Jade.
Hello, guys. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you, Jadis. So we got some time issues on our hands, Jade. We're going to raise some cash.
Yeah, for sure, Drew. That's often how it works in property. Yeah, you don't have ages to raise your money, and when a good deal comes, you need to be able to pull the trigger.
Yeah, that's it, eh? Now, Jade, there are some new people on the stream right now. So for context, can you introduce yourself? What do you do, Jade? And then let's get into this opportunity that you come across at Crossways.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks again for the opportunity, and we really appreciate it. Always nice to be on these coffee chats. Guys, so just in short, what I do is I'm a property investment coach at SAPIN in the Property Academy. So I've got quite a few students across the country. I specialize in a few different strategies, but mainly flipping, redevelopment of existing buildings. I recently did a 17-unit development in the lower income area of North End and PE, and then going into greenfields developments as well. And that's what this opportunity that I've got is all about.
Yeah, so tell us more about today, Jade. What makes this opportunity unique?
Drew, just quickly, am I able to share my screen, or is that going to be a problem?
No, you can. You can share.
Is that fine? Just give me a sec.
No problem. Show some pictures. Tell us who's behind the development. I believe it's a guy called Dr. Chris Mulder, right?
That's correct. I just want to see, Andrew, can you guys see my screen?
No, not
wait,
yet.
if I do this here, no, that's not that.
There.
Not.
Isn't this
I don't think it's this one.
No, this one.
Yeah, there's a blank. Okay, Jay, give us a second. Are your slides up there?
Let me just quickly check.
Okay, I got a note that the office inside can see your slides. We can't see your slide, but Simone and the team can see your slides. Give us a second, guys. Okay, so let me just see here. I can see your slides. It's weird. It doesn't show on our side, but your slides are showing.
Okay, well then everybody else can see.
Your slides are showing, Jade, on my phone, but just not on my computer. So
yeah, you can go ahead.
Daniel says we can.
Okay, cool.
We can see them. That is weird on our side.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
That looks better. There we go.
Yeah.
Go for it, Jade. Jade, you still there? Yeah, we've got the slide to show. Now we're just waiting to see what happened to Jade.
Yes.
Hope you didn't get load shedded.
I don't think so.
Let me see you guys. Let me reach out to Jade.
Okay.
Jade,
Technical
Jade,
difficulties,
Jade.
everybody. Just give us a sec.
See, it's such a good opportunity. That's what happens. It just crashes there.
That's nice.
Yo. Okay, busy. I've got a feeling Jade's internet connection probably died or load shedded.
Yes.
But I know it takes him about a minute or two and he's back up and running.
Oh, right.
Maybe very quickly, because I see quite a few people did actually join only in the last 10 minutes.
Yes.
We had Shiraaz from the GPF talking around the type of investments that GPF do get involved with, the levels, the equity, the percentages, what type of property, which is residential.
Yes.
They're now getting into townships, which is fantastic. And they do have an exclusive event this Wednesday. And if you do want to come, you just got to pass an email support@thesapropertynetwork.com. And we feel that you're a good fit for GPF. We'll then give you an invitation. But now, Khali, a very hot topic, and it's always a hot topic for the youth and for the youngsters going, I want to get into property. And do you feel there's a right or wrong with this in terms of, should your property, your first property, should it be an investment or should it be a family home?
So, personally, because I'm part of SAPIN, I'm going to say it should be an investment property, especially when we look at our economic climate and how it's going. I would say that. However, I can also comprehend how somebody would want a family home, because that gives you a certain sense of shelter and safety, and therefore you can move on. So these are the questions that we're going to be unpacking and talking about tomorrow with Jada, and she is part of the APSA team, and we're going to be discussing first-time buyers. Should your first property be an investment property or your primary residence? And there's actually pros and cons on both sides. So if you want to know which one would be more feasible, there's no right or wrong distinction, right? Because it doesn't happen you have investment property but you don't have shelter. So
no, exactly, 100%. Yeah. And so that's going to be tomorrow at 1.
Going to be tomorrow. We're still waiting on Jade, and yeah, he's back. He's going to be talking to us about this amazing opportunity on Wednesday.
Yes, and a lot more details. So we just asked Jade to jump on now and give us a high-level view. What does this opportunity look like, and why should people join on Wednesday? But Jade, if people want to contact you directly after this webinar to have a conversation with you about Crossways, they can do that. We'll just pop Jade's email address in there.
Yes.
Okay, perfect, Andrew. Well, thanks so much. I don't know what happened there. I tried to share, and then my screen froze, so I wasn't too sure. I don't know if I should share and try that again.
Let's give it one more time.
Let's give it a quick go. Sorry about that, guys.
No stress.
I'm using my second screen, yeah?
And as we're speaking, Carrie Lee says, my opinion is investment so you can buy a better family home.
Ooh, I like it, Carrie Lee.
Right? We don't know. You have to be there tomorrow so we can find out which one is actually the one that's more rational, logical, and feasible.
Definitely.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can see my pretty face.
There we go. Shame, I think Jade's.
Okay, you know what?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Okay, guys, I'm just going to chat about the investment because the sharing option is not working so well. So just high level, Andrew mentioned that it's an extremely unique development that we're looking at. And Andrew was lucky enough to come out to the development actually a couple of weeks ago with our SAPIN event down in PE. But yeah, the person behind the development is Dr. Chris Mulder. Absolutely amazing guy, such a visionary when it comes to developing rural South Africa. And this Crossways development is pretty much one of a kind. Now, Dr. Chris Mulder also developed Thesan Island in Knysna. That's won various international awards. I'm not sure if some of you are familiar with Knysna, but a really amazing development there as well. So we saw an opportunity here, guys. We saw an opportunity to actually get involved in building houses because we can see there's so much demand. And I'm also involved in the sales side. So I've got that sort of inside information that there's a high demand for built houses at this development. So we got together with a couple of partners and said, hey guys, let's build houses and flip them. That's essentially what we're doing. Yeah. So on the table, we've got an opportunity for an angel investor or angel investors to come together and help fund this deal. We've essentially taken over these houses that have been half built, and we're going to complete the project, and we really got a great deal. We essentially took over these built houses at cost, and we are going to just continue and then make the profit on the sale. But we're looking for angel investors. We're looking for up to 3 million rand at this stage, and we need to raise that by next week. So there is a bit of pressure, and we're looking at a minimum investment of 500,000 rand, and we're offering 15% return on investment on that. The beautiful thing is we're actually offering a learn and earn option on this development. So if you invest in this deal as an angel investor, we're actually going to take you along for the journey. So we're going to be doing on-site videos. If you're in the area, you can come to the development. Even if you're from Joburg, you could fly down and spend a couple of days with us. So I think it's a really nice thing to do, so you can learn how to do this yourself one day. We've got a really strong team, Dr. Chris Mulder, myself, obviously I'm heavily involved in the deal. We've got the contractor also part of the joint venture, so they're doing the actual building. So we've really come together with such a strong team that we're very excited to offer it to the network.
And Neil as well, eh?
Neil, he's an accountant. I know he does Sapin's accounting. He actually lives on site. So we've got an accountant. We've got Bruno also involved from a legal point of view. So we've got a really strong team, guys. So we're just looking for the right partners now, the right guys to put in some capital.
Yeah, definitely. Because Jade, is not often where you apply the strategy of buy. Well, we aren't even buying the land, right? The developers financing the land for you. And then all you're doing is raising finance for the physical build of the units. I believe you've also got the rights to sell properties at Crossways, hey Jade, through EXP. Is that right?
That's correct, Andrew. So, and that's one of the things that makes this deal so great is we've got a deferred payment on the land. So essentially, we don't have to buy the land. We're really just building on the developer's land. We just got to come up with the labor and the material costs, which really helps a lot from a finance perspective. And yes, we just landed a mandate. So myself and my wife, Stacey, we will be selling one of the only agents that's allowed to sell at Crossways. So we'll be selling plots and houses, but we're also involved with actual development of these houses. We've actually also reserved the next 12 plots. So currently we're building 5 houses. So going forward, if you invested in this deal with us, you could actually leave your money in and move on to the next houses that we're going to be building. So it could be a substantial opportunity for someone to earn consistent interest on their money.
Yeah, definitely. And Jay, tell us about who are the buyer or the buyers for these type of properties? Are they Joburgers? Are they guys coming from PE? Because you mentioned in PE, there's a huge issue with water, right? And Crossway solves that problem. Maybe talk around that.
There's a huge issue with water, Andrew. But the nice thing about Crossways is they've got a vision of going completely off-grid. We've got some houses at Crossways that are 94% off-grid. So that means 100% off the grid when it comes to water, 100% because there's a tributary that runs under the mountain at Crossways. That's a natural tributary, and Crossways have the water rights to actually extract water from that. So for the next 300 years, there's no issue with water. I mean, no one can say that in the whole of South Africa, I don't think, with the development. So Andrew, we've really seen all sorts of buyers. We've seen a lot of Joburg people, pretty much all the Aero Park, and there's actually a landing strip on Crossways as well, which I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you can park your plane in your hangar right next to your house. And those plots have all been sold, and we have seen a lot of Joburg people buying those plots. But really a mix from European to Joburg people coming down to the Eastern Cape, and also PE people because of the water concerns. We're seeing all different kinds of buyers.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got good Wi-Fi there as well, don't you? Got a 200 meg line apparently.
200 meg line of fiber. We're seeing a lot of people working, remotely, and that's a big thing. So yeah, it's really exciting development.
And Jade, is it just residential, or is it going to be like, I don't know, commercial, industrial? What's actually going to be in the ground?
Andrew, so it's residential, commercial, and industrial. So we've got some commercial sites that I'm currently working on selling as well, and expanding into the next section of the development.
Nice.
There's about 630 odd stands in total, residential stands, of which they've built on 46. So probably for the next 5 to 7 years, we've got opportunity here to actually keep on building houses. And our joint venture's aim is to build at least 10 to 15 houses per year. But then there's also commercial, there's warehousing, and there's industrial as well, which is upcoming.
Yeah, that's exciting, eh? And then the whole idea, Jane, on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we'll pop the link in the comments box for everyone. You'll unpack this in a lot more detail, right? Where we'll do it via Zoom. You can then share your screen. If people want to get their hands on the investor proposal. In fact, Jade, now you'll see in the comments box, I popped your email address in there. Is that the right email address for now? If people want to contact you, so they could actually email you right now if they wanted to, and you could send them the proposal, eh?
Yes, that's correct, Andrew.
Okay, and you did say that if people do want to get involved, it's a minimum of 500,000 Rand investment. And tell me, are we looking at over 12 months, over 2 years? How does that look?
So, Andrew, it really depends on when the houses sell. But we're probably looking at about a 6-month term. But as I said, there's an opportunity to keep on investing. So we've already reserved the next plot. So there will be an opportunity for you to actually keep your funds in, rolling over onto a 12-month period.
Perfect. No, sounds good, eh?
Yeah.
Awesome, Jade. So yeah, Wednesday at 1 o'clock, Khali will jump on with Jade and the team. I'll be at the GPF event, Jade, so I'll join from my phone afterwards. And yeah, I think that's it, eh?
That is it.
Thanks for the opportunity, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, bro. Pleasure.
Awesome. So to everybody that's there, if you want to inquire with Jade regarding this amazing opportunity, his email is in the chat box. Otherwise, we will see you on Wednesday.
Yes.
Yes. Regarding the actual more, what's this?
In-depth, all the detail, the photos, the pictures. It's a beautiful place, I must say, Jay. When I drove in, it's massive. There's cycle tracks, there's running tracks, there's dams, there's a lot. It's beautiful.
Yep. That is awesome. So from me to you guys.
Yep.
Also.
Everyone. And Khali, well done. Another awesome coffee chat.
As always, Daniel.
Call it Dan, man. We're watching Dan there.
Yeah.
He's ripping you off, Jay. He's saying that you're using KFC Wi-Fi. You'll get him back. You'll get him back.
I will.
Awesome, guys. Thanks very much. And we'll see you.